the fascinating and ever-changing world of agriculture. Let's hit the road here in Georgia and meet the farmers, producers, makers, and bakers who keep us all fed and keep us coming back for more. Straight ahead at the Fork in the Road.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands, strong like a tree, there's roots where I stand.
Georgia farmers, artisans, merchants, and producers, we depend on these men and women every day of our lives through the choices we make and the food we consume. Their strategy and approach is always shifting, but the end game remains the same: results. From the low country to the hill country we go, exploring a few farms in the field, amongst the rolling hills, and even in the water. Communities in these parts rely on their farmers and truly embrace what is locally available and as fresh as ever. So we begin in the marshes of Glen, at a Blythe Island farm nestled between St. Simon's Island and the city of Brunswick, en route to a destination with a top-notch chef. It's a quiet, nostalgic part of America. In most parts of Georgia's Golden Isles, time seems to slow a little. You often see more birds than people, but the folks you do meet down here quite often tell you why they love it so. The days are warm with a gentle breeze coming off the marsh, and the soil is rich. And down here off Potlicker's place, something special is in the works. And Glenn County's own Zach Gowan dreamt it all up, piece by piece, with a little help from his friends.
I kind of stumbled across it. I was reading Potlicker papers by John T. Edge, and literally less than 2 weeks later, I came across some property for sale on Potlicker's place. Kind of meant to be. I just thought that it would work well with the sea grill and with the community.
In short, the veggies are grown here, the fish is caught here and out here, and much of it comes back here to create a culinary masterpiece like this. But let's rewind a bit and head back to where we started, down on Potlicker's place, where Zach and his farming buddy Sam McPherson are growing a variety of tasty and nutritious wonders at Potlicker's farm.
We have about 8 acres. We only do about 2 acres of production. We're a certified naturally grown market garden. We grow mostly seasonal vegetables. We try to be sustainable. We do grow all of our own starts, so you can really see our production from seed all the way to the table.
The setting right on the marsh is very cool. Some of the mighty oaks still have remnants of shrimp nets from years past when boats would depart from this property's back rivers. Many of these crops that Sam grows were experimented with back in the 1700s, like turmeric and ginger, and today they grow very well in this rich sandy soil.
This is actually the rhizome of the turmeric, and this is what people eat. This is what people want. And this thing will actually get about the size of my hand when it's done. One rhizome this size can produce one whole hand, and then we slowly seed save that every year.
Show me the flower here.
The flower really is the showstopper for me. It's beautiful. Some people take the flower and use it for medicinal purposes. If I find some of those people, I'll definitely sell it to them.
Let's look at the ginger real quick.
It grows really well here since we're kind of tropical, so we're very fortunate. And this, again, just like the turmeric, it's a rhizome. You can smell it, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see all these? That will all be ginger. This is Thai basil. This is a very beautiful, like nice, kind of spicy, licoricey basil. Genovese basil, which is just green basil, this nice basil. So down here is some real beautiful purple opal basil. If you make pesto out of it, it's gonna be black. It's not, but it's delicious. It has a unctuous savoriness that regular basil just doesn't have. And actually all 3 of them combined, the green, the purple, and the Thai, make the best meatballs you've ever had. This is our melon patch. These are all watermelons. And then we have some cantaloupe varieties that we've been growing as well. This is a really special melon. This is a Chartreuse. This is the French variety of heirloom melon and the first one that we've been able to grow here. So this is a very special thing for me, and it'll be going up to Sea Grill tomorrow.
What's the meat like in it?
It's super sweet. It's like if you poured syrup on a cantaloupe. With my culinary background, I grow everything for taste. And some things like tomatoes, like we know they taste good, but other things like eggplant, you kind of have to entice people a lot of times to eat them. So we like to grow these beautiful Rosa Bianca, Italian heirloom. They're so delicious. And anybody who likes eggplant will love them, and anybody who doesn't like eggplant will probably become an eggplant fan.
So something smells really good around here.
Yes, sir, that's lemongrass. This was one of the first things I started growing many years ago. It was actually given to me by my father-in-law. It has grown and it has multiplied into giant bushes you see all over the property now. We grow them in front and back of our hoop houses, and it's just nice and pleasant, and the smell is beautiful, especially when I come here and cut it all down. We grow a variety called Sakura. It's a beautiful, big, heirloom type of tomato. And we also grow the orange variety of it, Clementine. So you have both of them together in a salad. It's real beautiful. Red peas are special because they were brought over by slaves originally to the islands. The story is that they just carried them in their pocket because they were very hardy and they would grow anywhere, and they were seed saved every year successively after that. We were very fortunate to have a friend that worked on Sapelo Island who was able to get us some seeds from the Bailey family. We're very appreciative of that. And then we also got some from Mr. Matthew Rayford from Gilliard Farms just down the road, and we crossed those over the last 5-6 years, and we've been growing a crop of them ever since. And they're specific to this area now that people really recognize Sea Island peas as being from Sapelo and the Sea Islands here of Georgia.
So now that our fruits and veggies are gathered, along with a bag of red peas, we journey inland to our second Zach Gallen-born destination, where he once again found the perfect friend to run the show. Eric Miller had an aquaculture background, but catfish was a brand new adventure, but one that seems to be growing swimmingly. Welcome to Satilla Ponds.
I have what we frequently pull out. This is about the average size. Nice, thick, hybrid catfish. Blue catfish crossed with a channel catfish. The younger they are, the more dots they'll have. They'll look more like a channel catfish. When they grow out, they kind of look more like blue. This was originally set up for you catch, we clean operation, but I didn't run it. Before I was doing this, I was actually running an aquaponics farm, and Zach mentioned something about a catfish pond. I started operating it for Zach. Since it was already established, it came with a lot of benefits as well as a lot of problems. So the benefits was the ponds were established. There was a mature ecosystem that could support the fish. You gotta have a balance between the plants in the ponds as well as the fish. As you can see here, we have these aerators here, which is definitely not industry standard. I repurposed these from wastewater treatment. We went with this style of aerator because of the depth that it's allowed to aerate. So it makes it more efficient, especially when we're consuming power 24 hours a day.
Eric stays quite busy, but on Sundays, he's usually not alone. How often do you get out here fishing?
Every weekend.
Yeah?
Every weekend. Him and I have been through it. Good days, bad days. He's had his family out here. I've had my family out here.
And by no means this was the initial plan for us to fish together every Sunday, but it happened.
For me, it's been cool because I come down here, I catch the fish, the cleaning and the cooking. Like it's a cool experience, and I'm 100% glad I've been a part of this.
What are you looking for the best eating here?
Honestly, about the 4-pounders. We have no problems selling those guys.
That's the biggest.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
I don't want them to solely rely on the feed. I try to encourage them to eat their natural diet here in the ponds, which is brim. I like to think it contributes to more of a natural taste when they get to eat something that's a natural diet.
Tell me what this yummy stuff is. This isn't on the Sea Grill menu.
No, definitely not. Tim would not allow it. They're really finicky. So they switch between brim, which is in the pond, to these wonderful homemade hot dog bait. It's dyed from the Kool-Aid we put in it. Also, it's got garlic powder. It's got a little bit of fish sauce. I vacuum seal it and leave it in my garage so it ripens. Tim won't even touch it. He only uses pliers to put it on his hook. He says it ruins his palate for garlic.
And it's not even that. You just ruined Kool-Aid and hot dog.
But it works.
Eric is out here quite often maintaining this private property and keeping nature's hungry critters from feeding on the catfish crop. And as we soon found out, sometimes other friendly pond dwellers get involved in the underwater feeding frenzy.
Oh, get out of here. This is the kind of stuff. You ready for this one, Tim? Here's a new one. Got a turtle. That dude, he took the bait.
Soft shell?
Yes, sir. No, this is the first.
Woo!
All right, buddy, you're free.
So as the soft shell scurried back into the pond to share his tale with his fishy friends, Eric and Chef Tim got back to work. You see, Chef Tim loves to fish, but it's his camaraderie with Eric and being a part of building his weekly fresh farm menu for the Georgia Sea Grill, one catch at a time, that makes this endeavor so special.
When Zach and I first talked about it, Zach's #1 priority was quality. He wants the best that can be produced. And I like to think that quality is definitely up there, but quantity is something I'm gonna work on and make sure that it's comfortably done for both Zach and I, as well as Tim. This is the guy that I gotta satisfy, because any dish that this man produces, you can taste it. You can taste his efforts. You're not gonna get it any better than what you can get it at Georgia Sea Grill. I can't wait for you to try it. You're not gonna forget it.
So I wasn't leaving without baiting a hook and catching a catfish for myself, and that I did, adding one more to the cooler to earn my keep and supply Chef Tim for our next leg of this low-country adventure, off to St. Simon's Island and the amazing Georgia Sea Grill.
Spent the majority of my life here as a kid, elementary school, middle school, high school. Been with the Sea Grill for 6 years. It's an amazing place, helping Zach create a story that is special. It is awesome to work with somebody like Sam that is super knowledgeable about what he's growing, but also has a knowledge about what it takes when it comes through the kitchen. During the week, you can find up to 6 varieties of different fish. It all depends on what's in season, what I'm getting off certain charter captains. It's all super popular, all fresh.
Well, what we have today, there's a small chance it's my catfish, but I'm just gonna say it's mine.
It's your catfish, man.
Okay.
It's your catfish.
All right. You singled out my catfish.
I did. It's fresh as can be. You know, a lot of days on Monday, you're eating what I caught on Sunday. Both catfish dishes that I've come up with since we've started this venture with the catfish. One is a blackened taco. It has a serrano cilantro slaw, black beans from Rancho Gordo, and some lime pickled shallots. And then our fried catfish dish over grits. It's 6 ounces. We have our tasso gravy, it's tasso ham, red pepper, celery, onion, and cream. Our Potlicker red pea salad, and then just a little bit of green onion.
This is the best part, man.
It's for you, my friend.
Okay. I gotta get a little everything.
Do it.
Liquor peas,
Don't be scared.
my catfish.
It's outrageous.
And I haven't had fish and grits like that before. I love the peas on top.
It's great, man.
Oh, yes, and that sauce. It all comes through, buddy. I'll get back to work here in a second.
You're good. You're fine. Enjoy it.
So much of what we experience from the farm to the pond goes into this special dish. Just one of many local culinary creations dreamt up by Chef Tim, supplied by his friends, and supported by a hardworking dreamer with a creative vision that's sustainable and fresh. Let's now head from the low country up to the hill country, Chattahoochee Hill Country to be specific, and the farm-friendly community of Serenbe. The city of Atlanta is located in the heart of Fulton County, but in the south end of Fulton, a few miles down the road, folks have opted for a different style of living in a setting that seems like a world away. A development orchestrated piece by piece by a man with a vision and a drive to create a healthy, happy place for his family to enjoy. And this vision has since grown to accommodate the wishes of an entire community.
The beginning of what we today call Serenbe did not have a lot of forethought. It was simply bringing our 3 daughters when they were 3, 5, and 7 to see the countryside. We'd seen a historic farm listed for sale. We arrived and bought the farm. We'd come out a couple Saturdays a month, and it seemed like a good investment. I was amazed that there was this much open land this near the center city. And that was the only forethought. There was absolutely no forethought. Those Saturday weekends turned into complete weekends every weekend, and the time in the country really seduced us into changing our complete lives. Life was great. First reaction, of course, is to start buying more land. And at 900 acres, I realized we couldn't keep doing that. And so that led to thinking about how we could do this differently. Now, luckily, I was chairman of the Midtown Business Alliance back in the 80s. Woodworth funded opportunity for us to rechange the zoning in Midtown Atlanta. I didn't realize that that was my tutorial on what we could do here. I used that playbook in bringing 500 landowners together to look at how we could have balanced growth rather than either development or preservation. We used the countryside of England as our example. They were able to put a lot of density in the hamlets, villages, and towns with the regulation they put in place so that they wouldn't destroy the whole island with asphalt and housing. That resulted in an overlay with Fulton County that required all development to happen on 30% of the land and then to preserve the remaining 70% for agricultural uses. There is nowhere in the United States this close to an urban center where that kind of balance exists. This wasn't about developing, this was about finding a balanced growth solution to save the majority of this land. So this was really kind of revolutionary. Of course, having a food background, we understand the importance of setting a table and what happens in building a community when you come together around food. So when we broke ground for the first house, we also broke ground for the first restaurant, the Blue-Eyed Daisy. And by the time the 4th resident had moved in, we had a restaurant open. All my friends in Atlanta thought I was really crazy. How is a restaurant going to survive out here? Food is all about placemaking. So we realized that if we were going to create a place, we had to have a place where you could come together for food and beverage and conversation, and that's how you build community.
What started with one restaurant, the dining options along with the shops and boutiques are now quite plentiful. DJ works at the Hill and is one of the friendly faces in the Serenbe community.
It's a very slow-paced, environmental-friendly community where everybody kind of just takes care of each other. And you can't forget about the bar here. This is definitely the residents' favorite spot. It's close to the town, it's secluded and locked off. And not to mention, we just make really, really good drinks.
Steve's daughter Garni is the director of operations at Serenbe, but also co-owns one of Serenbe's businesses known as Bamboo, where they create raw, cold-pressed organic juices and milks.
About 7 years ago, someone introduced me to the founder of Bamboo Juices, Kelly Sibley, who's an Atlanta native and had moved back to Atlanta from Los Angeles. And when she got to Atlanta, she found that there was no cold-pressed juice. And someone said, well, you should meet Garni at Serenbe because Serenbe is all about wellness and Bamboo is a great brand fit. So we make all of the raw cold pressed juice here in the Serenbe kitchen. We have about 650 square foot production with 2 raw juicers. We have a small retail front here in Serenbe that we sell out of. So you can pop in and get a juice 7 days a week. The benefits of raw juice are tremendous. So if fruits and vegetables haven't been introduced to any type of pasteurization, they have 100% of their health benefits intact. We have our own distribution, and we have our own trucks and our own delivery team, and we deliver juice throughout Metro Atlanta 7 days a week, same day. And then we partner with UPS and ship to about half the country overnight. Every single bottle of Bamboo Juices is raw. We're required in Georgia to do our own delivery because raw juice can't go into someone else's hands from a distribution point.
And along with the flowing of Bamboo's juices, the gardens of Serenbe are truly the heart of this community. Serenbe Farms provides for this community and many of the restaurants like The Hill and Blue-Eyed Daisy, but also the Farmhouse and Chef Nick, who looks after all the restaurant operations in this community. Chef Nick often visits his friend Ian, who manages the farm operations.
Chef Nick is always welcome at the farm. It's always good to have a good laugh. It allows us to really kind of put our heads together and really work through what we're currently growing at the farm and how he can incorporate it into a really farm-to-table menu. The farm itself is about 28 acres. We're currently farming about half of that right now, with the other half in the preparation of future expansion. We grow up to 40 different types of crops, and we're year-round. And the harvest that we are taking is going to the restaurants like Chef Nick at the Farmhouse, as well as Halsa, The Hill, and then we also bring product in bulk to Bamboo Juice.
Our common area landscaping, 80% of it is all edible. Here I'm at the crosswalk where we have blueberry bushes at every crosswalk.
So now that we better know this community and the folks who devote their lives to making it all work, we reunite with Chef Nick in the kitchen of the Farmhouse for a special treat, including a few freshly picked treasures from the farm.
Farmhouse in Serenbe is a very special place, and we rely heavily on the product from that farm. And I base all my menus on what the farmers are growing. Farmer Ian especially, he tells me what he's passionate about. I let him know what I'm looking forward to cooking, and we take it from there. I go over there sometimes when he's not there and climb over the fence and just pick stuff, and I will let him know so he charges me for it. But I was picking these tomatoes, and I was like, wait a second, he planted basil in between all the rows, which is really amazing. It kind of draws away some of the pests that love to eat these tomatoes. So I just snagged this kind of a big handful on my way out of there. But I buy about probably 10 pounds of this at a time. What I decided to do today was kind of keep it vegetables only, vegan. Here I slice those and kind of let them air out and marinate in this olive oil that we were tasting earlier. Some torpedo onions that Ian's super passionate about these things. And what I did is I took them, I split them, put a little olive oil and just put them on a grill. So I'm making a risotto. This is carnaroli rice from Italy, excellent quality. The integrity of the grain, even though when you cook it heavily, it's still intact. This grape juice, red, kind of like the tomatoes. And then actually this tomato, kind of like a puree, but I strained out the skins. So this rice is par cooked. It's important to par cook your rice. A lot of times you'll see chefs add, cream and cheese and mascarpone and all that stuff. We're completely avoiding that. You want to cook it slow and let the first round absorb. I'm going to go ahead and put some basil just into that. This is going to lend a lot of acid to the dish. These babies here, these are the ones I stole off the trees over there at Ian's, or at the bushes, as Ian was giving me the scorn. These onions, some radishes, basil buds.
I've never eaten the buds.
Very intense flavor. And some of them have little flowers and stuff on them. Olive oil. Get crazy with it. And then finally this beautiful salt that I brought here. So there we have it. This is our Serenbe Farms risotto. Everything picked this morning. Doesn't get better than that.
So whether you go the vegan route or all out with one of the best burgers on earth, Chef Nick has you covered. And the friendly Serenbe community greets guests with open arms and an array of options for those looking to stay and play, and for those who choose to stay a while longer and make this life their life. So from the low country where farm fresh grows and flows, to the hill country where a vibrant, earth-friendly community has forged strong roots, the state of Georgia delivers yet again with an abundance of healthy options for a variety of folks. I'm David Zelski. See you at the next Fork in the Road.